Hey, everybody, welcome to another week of Breakfast All Day. It's Matt, it's Christy, it's Alonso, and we've got so much news to talk about this week, as well as more marquees that y'all have been lovely enough to send us. But let's kick off with Christy's list.
Yes, there was enough news yesterday alone, just Thursday, October 1st alone, to fill an entire news segment. So we will try to get to it all in an expedient way. But of course, the lead of the day, the breaking news, is the fact that Rick Moranis was jumped on the Upper West Side.
Right?
What?
National treasure of Canada and America.
He was walking down Central Park West, not too far from the apartment where his character lived in Ghostbusters.
Oh.
And some random guy in an I Heart New York sweatshirt just like sucker punched him.
The man comes out of retirement after years of depriving us of his awesomeness, and this is how we greet him?
It's fucked up.
Get your act together, America.
He's fine, though. He's fine.
Good.
I mean, did he keep asking was he still asking if you were the gatekeeper and some guy just had enough?
Yes. There is no Dana, only Zool. So, no, but of course, the real news is that President Trump and First Lady Melania both tested positive for coronavirus, and it has just been like a cavalcade since then of people testing positive. Everything, this entire election, which already was extremely precarious and like a totally unknown path before us, is even more, in tumult at this point. I woke up my kid to tell him this news last night and celebrate, which I realized was shitty. And not the best parenting on my part on a multitude of fronts.
No,
No.
Not really, Christy.
Paul F. Tompkins had a really good tweet about this. He was like, yes, look, obviously we're never like gleeful over someone getting sick or, whatever. But this is a specific case in which somebody who made this disease much worse than it ever had to be for this country, who has spent months trying to downplay it and refusing to wear a mask for a very long time and doing all this stuff to be like not helpful. And he's had over more than 200,000 people die of it. The fact that he's got it, it's kind of funny. I mean, like, I'm sorry. This is how it
I hear you. This is kind of the greatest Schadenfreude of all time.
Is that how you say it?
Freude, actually, but I think today is Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. That's yes.
That's good. And then this morning, Nick wakes up and he's like, "Trump's got COVID," and Chris goes to me, "You got to deal with this."
Yeah, and Chris is right.
I mean, again, we cannot be gleeful.
No.
As Alonso put so succinctly, like, so many people have died or lost their jobs or been sick because he has gone out of his way to deny the reality of it. And I'm actually surprised that it took 7 months for the man to get it, because he has had all these indoor rallies, because he does not distance, because he does not wear a mask. And the thing is, like, nobody
because Hope got it, and then he was making out with Hope.
Right.
I mean, like the Herman Cain death didn't change anything. Didn't make them like rethink the policy. Mind you, I did flip over to Fox News for about 10 seconds last night, which is about as much as I can take. They found like 3 pictures of Trump in a mask and just were circling through them over and over and over again.
Look at him being safe, and he got it anyway.
As though that were his typical behavior,
Yeah. So the timeline of things that happened was that Hope Hicks tested positive, right? And she has been with him very closely for weeks and months now. Very close. But my fellow SMU sorority girl, Hope Hicks, she turned out fine. So she was like in Marine One with him and Air Force One with him and side by side with him. And everybody's not wearing masks offside on the debate the other night. And so she tested positive, but Trump knew on Thursday morning when he got on the helicopter or whatever to go down to Bedminster for a fundraiser where he raised $5 million for his campaign. He knew he had been in close proximity to somebody who had tested positive and did not follow his own CDC's guidelines about quarantining. Because he thinks he's immune.
You know what? I'll tell you, the woman that they're currently putting up for the Supreme Court has been in close contact with a member of Congress who has tested positive, which means she needs to quarantine for 14 weeks.
Beyond that,
Oh?
she had it this summer, Alonso.
Oh, really? Oh, that I didn't
Amy
even
Coney
know.
Barrett
Oh, man.
herself had coronavirus
Okay.
this summer.
So there is no way we can have hearings with her before the election. That's insane.
We don't know
Also,
about antibodies, right?
the thing that's been interesting in reading about this online is there are as many people who are as convinced that this has to be true because he's such a narcissist and he would never cop to an illness if he didn't have to. Right. And an equal number of people who are absolutely convinced that he is making this up. This is his way to get out of further debates. This is his way to lose gracefully. And it's like, so he's got Schrodinger's COVID. Like, there's
I don't believe it for a
there's
second.
convincing
you don't think
it.
he has it?
No. I don't believe he's lying about it. I believe he actually has it. Go ahead, Alonso.
No. I'm shrugging. I honestly have no idea.
So having grown up with a addict narcissist as a father, and part of hearing Trump all the time, it's like, like hearing my father be president. I can tell you right now that somebody like that does not fake being sick. Like they don't, right? At least I don't think so. That would be astounding. Like that would be a sign of
humanity.
Like, well, it would, like, it doesn't fit, right? Like, if anything, you play up being sick, but if anything, like, you milk it more than you actually need to, right? And you use it as like, well, I'm sick, so it's not my fault. But you don't make up being sick. Like, that's one of the few things you don't lie about.
Gotcha.
You know, I mean, if anything, like, part of the problem is like, we've heard him lie about his health and how healthy he is for so long.
Yeah.
Right.
And have doctors do it for him.
Well, and that's the thing.
Bionic.
Like, you know, he's 74. He's obese. God only knows what other health problems the dude has that we haven't heard about. Like
he eats like crap.
Like the only visual thing you see is that he's obese.
Well, walking up the ramp and the water.
Right. But like
the hands in the water.
Right. But there's no, like, we don't have any other, you know, I'm sure that his health is like, you know, that episodes of The Simpsons where they show that Mr. Burns has everything, but nothing can take over because it's too many things trying to get through the door. You know, he's got all this, I'm sure he's in terrible health, and this is just going to make it worse. But the thing, again, like a guy like that doesn't admit that he's sick unless there's some real issue. And even then, like, you don't want to change your routine. And what's going to be interesting is, in spite of quarantine, you're going to, I think at least for the first few days, you're going to see him, like, he'll still tweet. He's still going to, like, make calls. You're still going to hear him call into Fox News. And it's not until my prediction, my belief is that it's not until, like, it knocks him out and really knocks him on his ass that you're going to see any change with him. In fact, he'll probably say, yeah, we should go ahead and still do the debate. Because I can power through it. Look how strong I am.
Right. Well, a couple things on that. I agree with you that he is not faking this, because the ultimate failure in his eyes is looking weak. Right. So I think he would not want to acknowledge this. I mean, I'm actually surprised that the world knows about this. I thought if he were to test positive, they'd figure out some way to cover it up and we'd never actually know. They'd just say, oh, he has a cold. He is saying he wants to continue to do all this stuff, but then the campaign put out an advisory saying that for the next couple of weeks, everything is sort of up in the air. They're going to do things online instead. So out of sheer necessity, and then, I mean, the next debate is within that 14-day period. So that can't happen, at least not in person. Joe Biden and his wife both tested negative. Kamala Harris and her husband both tested negative. Mike Pence and Karen both tested negative. So also, but when Hope Hicks tested positive, Tom Arnold doxed her. Did you guys see that?
Yes. What was that about?
He's like, you guys should really let her know how sad you feel for her, and here's her cell phone number.
Stay classy, Tom Arnold. No, but what you said about thinking that if he ever did test positive, we'd never hear about it. I thought the same thing. What I'm thinking now is that if it really hits him hard, like, we're not going to get the helicopter to Walter Reed. They're going to, the ventilators are going to come in through the back entrance under the building, whatever, however things get snuck in and out of the White House, you know, like all the medical treatment, all that stuff's going to happen in the residence. And it's never going to be a thing where he actually gets taken to the hospital, because that would be considered a sign of weakness.
It's going to be like Dave, like the movie Dave.
Exactly like
and
Dave.
They're going to have like JL Covan or Brendan Gleeson or somebody do the Trump.
Alec
we'll
Baldwin.
Never know. That's too over the top.
Mr. Garrison.
Right. I watched the Comey Rule because I know you guys didn't want to. And Brendan Gleeson gets the voice right on Trump.
That's what I hear.
The makeup is a little too rubbery and distracting, but he gets the cadence of the voice down.
We all do realize that if this, and look, like, not that I wish that this disease kills anyone.
However,
I
hear a however coming.
If this turns, no, this is not me wishing this. If he ends up passing away because of this, if COVID or COVID-related complications cause his death, we will never hear the end of the deep state conspiracy ever.
We're never going to anyway.
I know, but
also, who's that?
We should start writing our movies now.
Right, the woman who ran for Congress against Nancy Pelosi, Deanna Lorraine.
Yes,
tweeting all kind of nonsense today, like China sent this virus to take out Trump and Melania.
Oh, I saw the one where she blamed it on the left. How they had put it, they put it all over the microphone and the podiums at the debate.
That, and also, why is it the Republicans keep falling but no Democrats get it? It's like, why is that? Do you think?
Who's wearing a mask in public and who's goofing on the people who wear masks?
My favorite tweet that I've read so far was, looks like Ruth Bader Ginsburg successfully argued her first case in front of God.
Yeah, I heard that one too.
So the beginnings of this seem to have been last Saturday, the Rose Garden ceremony to announce that Amy Coney Barrett was Trump's pick for the Supreme Court. And no one's wearing masks. There's all this video of like Utah Senator Mike Lee, who has now tested positive.
I'm sorry.
Chris Christie. I don't know if we know if he has it up. There's a video of all of them and they're hugging and no one's wearing masks.
When he was giving the press conference about the COVID in the first place, the one where he trotted out like all the CEOs of like, you know, Office Max or whatever, like none of them were wearing masks. They were shaking hands. They were touching the microphone. It was just like,
I have to say, like the delicious, wonderful irony of the Rose Garden announcement to quickly move ahead with the Supreme Court nomination when everyone in the country is like, nope, he should wait. Nope, we should wait. We should wait till after. Oh no, I'm going ahead. Even if it costs me and everybody else my life, we're going ahead.
Well, that's the thing now. It's like she can't meet with senators one-on-one. They can't have hearings now.
Oh, hell
That's not going to happen before the election now. It was already an impossibly tight time frame, and they were ramming it through. And now health concerns Trump. Of that.
Oh, hell no. Let us not lose sight, however, of the other big news of yesterday.
The Melania tapes?
The Melania tapes.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the Melania tapes, I'd feel bad for her being locked up with Trump for 2 weeks, but...
She's on her side of the building. She's not been in the same bedroom with him for years.
Jen Kirkman, I think, said she's been socially distancing from him all along.
Right.
So how did she test positive?
Probably.
She got it from Hope.
Probably. Well, they're all like on Marine One and Air Force One together, right?
That's true. There's a lot of circulated air in those airplanes and stuff.
Let's talk about the Melania tape. So it's her best friend, her former best friend, who had this book out, right? My Life with Melania, whatever the hell it's called. And she taped her, Alonso, say what she taped her saying.
Who gives a fuck about Christmas?
Yes.
Whatever.
Oh my God, Chris just texted me. Trump's going to Walter Reed.
What? Shut up.
Breaking news.
Oh my God.
When your husband's a news producer, it's breaking news all the time.
Forget what I literally just said.
Fucking A,
I mean,
dude.
who would have thought that? You know, going back to the Melania and her best friend news, like who would have thought there would have been a White House related burn book?
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, like the Christmas thing was the thing I glommed onto. Let's also not forget that she like was rather callous about the whole kids in cages situation. That's the big takeaway on this one.
Give me a fucking break. Nobody cared when Obama did this.
And she also acknowledges that that they can get Fox News to report anything they want them to, but it doesn't really count because everybody knows that they can get Fox News to report anything they want them to.
It's nuts. My child's not running over here with a dry erase board. Oh, and he wrote to me, what the fuck is he thinking? Nick, you're not old enough to write that word on the dry erase board yet.
In front of your mother.
You got to use F star, 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 star.
WTF, that's what it's there for. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Yeah, my kid can spell. Okay, so we have breaking news. Yeah, so you have the Melania Tapes. Also, the other big news of yesterday, you guys, is the story in the New Yorker about Kimberly Guilfoyle sexually harassing her assistant. Matt, did you see this?
I read the story. Have you read the whole story?
It's sick, you guys. Like Kimberly Guilfoyle walking naked around her apartment and like flashing dick pics to her subordinates and asking
not of her own.
Asking people to rate her body and talking really graphically about her sexual exploits.
Oy, oy, oy.
And
isn't she like our governor's ex?
Yeah, yes. She used to be Kimberly Guilfoyle Newsom. Oof. Like 20 years ago. No longer.
I mean, I guess we know why things went wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, it's
there's that Bombshell sequel we've been wanting.
Yes. Well, it's interesting because in Bombshell, whoever's playing Kimberly Guilfoyle is walking around handing out T-shirts to people that say Team Roger.
Right. The New York story talked about how she was like all but running Team Roger. It was telling people like you need to pick a team, and if you pick the wrong team, you're fucked, basically.
So this assistant got what is apparently like a multi-million-dollar settlement. Right. She filed a complaint. Gotcha. Fox News Channel. She was just like fresh out of college, like a couple of years out of college, and was shocked to be treated this way. And also, I guess Kimberly Guilfoyle, who we must point out is now Don Jr.'s girlfriend, and now runs the fundraising arm of the Trump campaign. Trump Victory.
She's putting the fun in fundraising.
She is, but she also
she fits right in with this clan.
She urged this young woman to sleep with wealthy, powerful men to get ahead. Like all kinds of really inappropriate stuff. And of course she came out.
I gotta tell you, I've been trying that for years.
It apparently worked for Kimberly Guilfoyle, I suppose. I mean, that is the kind of advice she would pass along.
It hasn't worked for me.
That was all just craziness. Also this week, it's only been this week, the giant New York Times story about Trump's tax returns.
Oh yeah, since last we met. Oh, brother.
It was on Sunday. That feels like a lifetime ago, you guys. Time moves so quickly.
Yikes! Yeah, so the which he never thought we were going to see, and obviously, I'm sure for a lot of his base, the fact that he doesn't pay taxes is just like he's so smart. But the fact that he's flat broke, I think, does kind of dig into his rich Uncle Pennybags. Like I am not a rich guy, but I play one on TV thing that has played so well with his base.
Yeah, and it's all been a sham.
Right.
So
that's really, one of the things that I've seen about him is he's got 3 baby mamas. And he is almost broke, deeply in debt, and lives in government housing.
Yes.
Somebody said he's really at risk for COVID because he's old, he's in bad shape, and he's broke.
Right.
So that was just on Sunday.
Right. That was on Sunday and came up, which we also haven't really talked about, the insane debate.
I didn't actually watch it.
I couldn't.
Did you watch it, Matt?
I watched highlights later. It was exactly as dumb as I thought it was going to be. I will say props to Biden for, as a guy that we know as a stutter, and Trump was clearly trying to fuck with him and fluster him. Like, I mean, I'd have lost my temper at the guy. Yeah. I love, like, if Biden didn't already have my vote, it would have been like calling out the president on that stage and calling him a clown on that stage. Great. Right. Because yes. And then circus performers are like, oh no, please don't call him a clown. Please.
You clown Anti-Defamation League.
Right. Exactly.
But in retrospect, he looked tired and he looked sweaty, and maybe he already was beginning to
run a fever,
succumb to some of the symptoms of this. I mean, what we are learning today, as of Friday afternoon, I've not read the story that Chris is alluding to about him going to Walter Reed Medical Center, but
they're claiming he's going to walk out of Marine One on his own.
They're saying that
in an abundance of caution. Yeah.
You were frozen for a second there. But they're saying he has a low-grade fever and he's fatigued.
Yeah,
Who knows what's new now?
But nonetheless, his debate performance was like, of course, boorishness for the ages. And Biden was very smart to A, finally tell him to shut up, but B, to just look at the camera and talk to the people at home who were watching this thing, because there was no talking to the guy who was at the other podium. And that was clearly not a conversation. That was not a dialogue. That was not an anything but just like, a slap fight bitch fest. So it was, it was very him to just sort of like cut out the middleman and be like, look, you, America, I'm talking to you, because that's really who we needed to reach in this thing.
Yeah, I just couldn't. On Twitter, I would dip in every once in a while on Twitter, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is horrifying." And so I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't watch it either.
It was ridiculous, and they talk about like how they're going to make changes. Like the thing is, if you cut off his mic, if you end up cutting off his mic to shut him up, then he's going to walk over and he's going to do something, because he's not going to just stand there, right? Because we know from the debates with Hillary, he's not going to sit still. He's going to walk over and he's going to cause trouble. My favorite comment about the tweets so far, although one of them, the runner-up is Mark Hamill saying that debate was the worst thing I've ever seen, and I was in the Star Wars holiday special.
Did you see Stormy Daniels?
I did not.
That debate was the worst thing I've ever seen, and I've had sex with Donald Trump.
Oh, no, there was another good one that said, never play chess with a pigeon. It doesn't know anything about the game, doesn't care about the rules. It'll just knock all the pieces down, shit all over the board, and strut around like it won anyway.
Yeah.
Right. He thinks he won. Dwayne Johnson has come out endorsing Joe Biden. He's never taken a political stance in his life. He posted a video this past week, and that was surprising to me. When you are a major international blockbuster movie star of that magnitude, where entire franchises rest on your massive hulking shoulders, you can see how you'd want to like walk the even steady path in the middle and not potentially alienate anybody. So for him to do that, I was pretty impressed with.
Yeah, I mean, yes. And by the same token, it's like those are exactly the kind of people who can get away with this sort of thing and have the least to lose, because they have so many, shits. I don't know what my metaphor here is, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's got the clout that he can pull that off.
I appreciated it. Joaquin Phoenix and Rooney Mara had a baby, and they named him delicious. River.
That was very sweet.
That was very sweet. LA Comic-Con is going on as planned. Supposedly, at this point, it will be December 11th through 13th instead of its usual October time slot. Tickets are on sale now.
Is Trump on their board?
They're taking over the entire Los Angeles Convention Center, which doubles the space for LA Comic-Con, and they're selling fewer tickets. And they're going to spread events out more, and they're going to do a split schedule so that you don't have as many people in there at one time. And they're still going to stream everything for folks who don't feel comfortable subjecting themselves to that kind of cesspool of germs.
Last year was a disaster. Last year was a disaster. I tried to go with some friends, and there were multiple people complaining about how they had not enough entrances, and so people were standing outside in line in the sun for hours. Like my son and another kid that my Gabe's friend and I stood in line for 2 hours and still didn't get in. And then they didn't want to do a refund because they're like, oh, you should have just waited. It was a mess. And so there's nothing in me that believes that that group can pull off a safe Comic-Con. Absolutely not.
Yeah. If you've ever been to any Comic-Con, like social distancing is the last thing that happens at those. And I don't know how. There's no way that you could slash it to where people aren't going to be lining up or bunching together or like all trying to cram themselves into the same panel space or whatever and still turn a profit. Like that's just, I don't see that happening.
I feel so bad for the artists, the folks for whom these conventions originally were planned, right?
Yeah.
Comic book artists. I guess they can still sell their stuff online for sure, but like having people there, it must make a huge difference to have an interaction with fans as far as your ability to sell more stuff or just get folks interested in your work.
So one of the things that has helped keep San Diego Comic-Con in Comic-Con as opposed to moving to, there was talk of moving to Vegas,
right?
Is that, and this comes up with WonderCon done by the same organizers who do San Diego. I've talked to artists who they don't make as much money at WonderCon in Anaheim because a lot of the people that go to that then turn around and go to Disneyland. So a lot of their pocket money or spending money that they would be using on art goes to other things. And so the artist community really doesn't want them to go to Las Vegas because that whole city is based on separating people from their money. So,
holding you by your ankles and shaking it all
exactly.
out of your pockets.
So you would go to the con and then not get it. I was like, oh no, I lost it all at the blackjack tables. I'm just walking around.
Yeah.
Right. So I think,
I think there's a way I don't know what it is, and somebody's going to figure it out, though. There is a way for those artists to have a similar kind of interactivity and to sort of make themselves available for the people who would normally just be wandering up and down Artist Alley to look at people's wares. Because, for example, I know, I went to the first Christmas con last year in New Jersey. They were going to do a summer version in Pasadena this year and canceled it because, of all the stuff that's going on. And, one of the big draws for them has been the people who want to go and get autographs and get selfies and, that kind of stuff. So now they've set it up to where it's an online thing. You can purchase like you can get custom autograph stuff, like pick a picture and have them write your name and all that stuff. You can also set up you can buy like a 2-minute or 5-minute Zoom call so that you get to talk to the celebrity and like have that eye-to-eye interaction that you would normally have at a con. So like they have figured out online workarounds for that stuff. And I hope somebody clever figures out how to do that for the Artist Alley people, because that is a great resource for them. And it is a way for people to discover new talent and is a way for those artists to make money. And, for the time being, while gathering is not practical, hopefully there's a way to figure out a way to do that virtually that everybody gets what they want.
Yeah, some version of Zoom and like Cameo for artists, I think would be really cool. I think that would work. And we talked about this a little bit last week. I did the Cameo greetings for Gabe for his birthday, and they were amazing.
So cool.
So, yeah.
Okay, so we should keep moving on. Chadwick Boseman, we are learning, gave up part of his salary on 21 Bridges so that Sienna Miller could get paid more, could get paid what she was asking. So
very cool of him. And I wonder if that's a thing that happens more often and we don't hear about it, or if it really is like a rare thing. But either way, it's very cool and very smart, frankly. Like if you are the name person in a project and you're getting the big fat paycheck, if you make a bunch of those movies that nobody wants to see, then you're not going to get that fat paycheck anymore. So if you have a caliber of co-star that you want and the producers aren't giving them what they should be getting because they're paying you all the money, then it makes sense in the long game for your career to look out for the other people. And again, this falls in that category of like, did he already know he was sick? Which might switch to the angle. It doesn't make it any better or worse.
At that point, he did.
It does add a different perspective as to what he was thinking in doing so. But, I think in general, it's very magnanimous of him to have done it. But I think it's the kind of smart thing that I think actors who pull in the big salaries either should be prepared to like dig into their own to pay the talent that they want to have working alongside them, or like I always look at the Friends cast, figure out that favored nation status thing. And you're like, you pay one of us, you pay all of us.
For solidarity. Let's talk about Eddie Redmayne in his support of J.K. Rowling in her transphobic words and thoughts.
And he had actually had some pro-trans statements in the not too distant past, which makes me wonder if like Warner Brothers or somebody was like, we need you to step up and, make her look good because we've still got 4 more Fantastic Beasts movies to make or whatever. Trans people already were not the biggest fans of Mr. Redmayne because of the Danish Girl.
Right. I was gonna say, he's in the documentary Disclosure as an example of cis actors getting lavished with praise for being so brave.
Exactly. Yes. So, not a lot of love lost there, but yeah.
Barry Jenkins is going to direct a Lion King sequel for Disney.
Yeah.
It's Barry Jenkins, you guys. Come on,
look,
it'll be art.
I want to see anything he does, and I don't begrudge him the paycheck. I have zero interest in seeing a live action Lion King sequel, but you know, like good on him. Well, you know what I mean. We stop or mocap animation. We talked about this on Who Shot You this week, and the upside is that he has like 4 other projects in the pipeline that all sound a lot more Barry Jenkins-ish. So it's like, he's not gonna be one of those people who like has a couple of indie hits and then suddenly becomes like the guy who makes the Jurassic World sequels, you know. So if this underwrites his ability to do like, you know, edgier, smaller stuff, then great, cash that check.
Former Dodgers and Yankees outfielder Jay Johnstone died of COVID. This is my dipping into sports news for you. He won 2 World Series with the 81 Dodgers and the 78 Yankees, I want to say. He was like a noted prankster, but for our purposes, he was in The Naked Gun.
Okay.
When Frank Drebin is the umpire.
Oh, right.
Jay Johnstone is the one at the plate. Also, this is jumping around here. Sully has endorsed Biden. Oh. Sully of Sully fame. Sully of Miracle on Hudson fame.
Right. Sully of had a movie about his life made by Clint Eastwood fame.
That was pretty good, though. That was a good movie, wasn't it?
No,
I recall it being exciting.
It's nonsense, but it's very good. It's just interesting because, you know, Eastwood has been rather famously Republican of late. So
yes. Speaking of sequels, the Borat sequel is coming October 23rd to Amazon Prime.
Yep.
It's got this insane long title that I can't remember, but it's like Borat : subsequent movie film something formerly great nation of Kazakhstan.
Yeah. Which had at one point had a longer title that had Mike Pence in it, I think.
Yes, yeah. It was something like giving pornographic monkey to Vice Premier Mike Pence or Mikhail Pence. Yeah, it was a whole to benefit formerly great nation recently. Kazakhstan. Yeah.
But this is interesting from a couple of different perspectives. The main one being he shot it totally guerrilla style during COVID. Oh. Right. And so we've had a few things so far shot during the pandemic, one of which was that movie on Shudder, the entire Zoom host. But this is like he's out in the world among people, still trying to be Borat, which I think is a challenge as well, given that everybody knows what
Have you guys
Borat
watched the trailer? Because
yes.
that gets addressed, right? So, yeah.
He's running down the street and then people are like, Borat. So I've not loved Sacha Baron Cohen's last couple of movies, but I love Borat. So I wanted to
give it a shot. Yeah, I didn't love Bruno, didn't love The Dictator, but and he's also got Trial of the Chicago 7 coming up, so he's keeping a foot in both things. Also premiering on the 23rd. Sorry if I'm jumping the gun on you. Is the Robert Zemeckis remake of The Witches. Yes. On HBO Max with Anne Hathaway and Octavia Spencer, which was originally supposed to be theatrical, and now it is going to premiere on Warner Brothers' streaming service.
Indeed. And also One Night in Miami is going to be in theaters and on Amazon Prime on Christmas Day.
In theaters Christmas Day and then Amazon Prime in January, actually.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought it was both the same day. But they're coming out soon, and I hear it's excellent. Alonso, you've seen it, right?
It's great. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Is it Regina King's directorial debut? Yes.
Feature directorial debut, yeah.
There you go. Also in the works is this making of the Godfather movie, right? Mm-hmm. Have you heard about this? Where Oscar Isaac is going to play Francis Ford Coppola and Jake Gyllenhaal is going to play Robert Evans and Barry Levinson.
Isaac was playing Puzo, wasn't he?
No, Isaac's playing Frank Coppola.
Anyway.
I don't know.
Kind of navel-gazy, but I love Oscar Isaac and everything, except for that terrible movie with Olivia Wilde. What the fuck was that called?
Life Itself.
That was terrible. But I love Oscar Isaac in general. So.
I don't. I hope it has the sizzle of. Do y'all follow Larry Karaszewski on Twitter? He recently posted a Cotton Club era telegram from Francis Ford Coppola to Robert Evans telling him to stop taking credit for The Godfather, how basically he did nothing but get in the way and have terrible suggestions, and how he was going to if he wants a fight, he's going to get a fight. It was just like, whoa, okay. If the movie brings that kind of energy, then yes.
Okay. That'll be fun then. So Matt pointed this news out to me. And it has to do with what we're going to talk about later on during our Patreon segment on The Vow, when we recap The Vow. Claire Bronfman has been sentenced for her role in the NXIVM cult abuse.
Oh.
What did she get? 6 years? A lot.
I think
Matt?
7.5. Yeah.
For what charges specifically?
I don't know. But she bankrolled like all of it. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff.
Well, because I saw that one of the things that they got or are trying to get Keith on was trafficking, and like I don't understand how that works if we're talking about people who aren't minors, but then there's a lot about sex trafficking that I don't know the logistics of. So, well, anyway, good.
So she's been sentenced to 81 months in prison, and she had pled guilty to, I think, mostly financial stuff. Yeah, I mean, they got everything they prosecuted Raniere on. They got him. And he's supposed to get, I believe he gets sentenced this month. So probably within the next couple of weeks, we'll hear about that.
just in time for the series finale.
Well, I think that's why they timed the series the way they did to line up with his sentence.
They timed it. Yeah, so Claire Bronfman and Sarah Bronfman, sisters who are daughters of Edgar Bronfman of the Seagram's fortune. So that's
who owned MCA Universal for a while.
Oh yeah. I'm frankly shocked that a rich white person is going to jail for something. We don't see that a lot.
What else was I gonna say? Disney is cutting a ton of jobs, you guys. This week it was announced that they are cutting 28,000 jobs in the United States, with theme parks taking the biggest hit after already having been on furlough for all these months. It's unknown when Disneyland's going to reopen. Did Disney World reopen because Florida?
It did, yes. Remember, because they had those ads with all the employees wearing masks, and people put new music on to make it more like a horror film than it already was. Yeah, of course, Disney, mind you, in August, I think, decided to restore all of their executive salaries to pre-COVID levels. Like, they all took this sort of like ceremonial 25% pay cut or something for a few months. But in August, they all got their full salaries back. And then in September, they laid off several thousand, 28,000 employees.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They'd already been furloughed for like 6+ months.
Fuck you, Disney, basically.
Fuck you, Disney. And then, I meant to say this before I did Disney, I meant to say this. Do you guys see that Harvey Weinstein was charged today?
Yes.
With 6 more counts involving 2 rapes at a Beverly Hills hotel. The victims were in the early 2000s. So this is now in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Courts. He already was convicted in New York.
Exactly.
So more from him. The Dilbert guy, Scott Adams, says he might not vote for Trump because Trump didn't answer the softball white supremacy question.
Oh, no. But you missed the follow-up, though. Oh. He said that, and then people on Twitter were mean to him. And then he said, well, I guess I'm going to vote for Trump anyway then.
Oh, thank God. I was so worried.
So, yeah.
So worried. TCM Fest this year or next year is going to be virtual again in 2021, sadly.
I think they are sorry to bring this up after having talked about Keith Raniere, they are at the vanguard of people who are going to be like canceling or virtualizing their 2021 events because, yeah, it's October, y'all, and we're not any closer to things being fixed or right or manageable than they were before. So yeah, I think get ready for a lot of this.
But I also figure like they're smart because they recognize who the vast majority of their fans are.
Also true. Yes.
Right? A lot of older folks. You can be of any age and love classic film, but they know who their bread and butter is as far as who goes to these things, who goes to the cruise.
Yep. I've attended the festival. I've been on the cruise and I can attest it is a mixed crowd, but it skews gray.
Yes. There's going to be a Lego Baby Yoda just in time for season 2 of The Mandalorian. It retails for $79.99.
This month we get The Mandalorian.
October 30th. We will definitely be recapping that on our Patreon.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Even though the end of this month will feel like it was a year from now.
Oh, Chris is texting me with more news.
Oh boy. Now what?
Trump is fighting about whether he will be wheeled to the helicopter or whether he will walk on his own.
Ay.
Breaking news. You heard it here first from Spectrum News 1.
There was the sad news about John Legend and Chrissy Teigen.
Yes, let's talk about that. So What are you listening to?
Sorry, I clicked on a news thing and it took me to a video. Sorry.
Okay. They were very candid about her miscarriage this past week. They had begun calling this little boy Jack, and they already have 2 kids together. And she posted a photo of herself, this really like hauntingly stark black and white photo of herself in the hospital. And they were both very forthcoming about the heartache of that. And I really appreciate that because it's a topic that not enough people talk about. I had 3 miscarriages before I had Nicholas.
Wow.
I had one when I was 23 and we weren't trying to have a baby yet. And I had 2 back to back when I was in my mid 30s when we were trying. And I was like 8 months, 8 or 9 weeks along rather at that point. And it is heartbreaking because you have so much hope wrapped up in that, but also the hormones do a number on you.
Oh, I bet.
Like the highs and the lows of what you experience through that whole roller coaster. So it's, I really appreciate them using their celebrity, their platform, the worldwide adoration that exists for them to shine a light on this. I think it's just something, it's so common, like 40% of pregnancies end in miscarriage. Quite often women don't even know that they're pregnant and they just think they're having their period late. And that was a miscarriage and they just, maybe they were a week late or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, she's somebody who has sort of let people into her life anyway. And so it was gratifying that she felt able to do that, in something that was this tragic. And yeah, you're right. I think it's a thing that happens. I know a lot of women who talk about that happening to them, and but in the society itself, we don't really talk about this that much. And so I think that that's the kind of thing that gives hope to people. It makes them feel less alone. It educates men about maybe how these things work if they aren't familiar. So yeah, good on her. And also as somebody who takes an insane amount of shit online, her courage of like giving 0 fucks and proceeding onward, I very much admire.
Yes. A couple things and we'll let you guys go and we'll move on to movies. There's going to be a Spinal Tap reunion online.
Oh, okay.
A fundraiser for Pennsylvania Democrats. Rob Reiner, Christopher Guest, Michael McKeon, Harry Shearer, and Patton Oswalt is going to moderate it. I don't know if they're going to perform, but you got to donate in order to have access to it. And then Alonso, just today you sent me a thing about how there's going to be a Dazed and Confused table read.
Yes, in Austin.
All right.
Or I don't know, actually maybe not in Austin, maybe all over the place, but yeah, to benefit Texas Democrats. And sorry, I should have had that pulled up. Okay. I know that I believe they've got Mr. McConaughey, certainly. Matthew McConaughey, Ben Affleck, Parker Posey, Jason London, Joey Lauren Adams, Adam Goldberg, Anthony Rapp, Rory Cochrane, Marissa Ribisi, Cole Hauser, Dina Martin, Esteban Powell, Christine Harnos, Wiley Wiggins, Michelle Burke, Mark Vandermeulen, Sasha Jensen, Jeremy Fox, Kristina Hosa, Catherine Morris, and Nikki Katt. So yeah, and Patton Oswalt is moderating that one too. He's found his niche. It's funny because that is one of those movies like American Graffiti and Can't Hardly Wait, where like everybody became famous afterwards, or a lot of them did anyway. So it's cool they were able to get the old band back together.
Yes. Also some sad news here. Helen Reddy died. We just talked about the movie I Am Woman just recently, a couple weeks ago on the show. Long time Australian 70s pop star whose song I Am Woman became an anthem for the era and has so many hits. And I grew up with her son, who's a lovely guy. And so she was 78. She had been suffering from pretty serious dementia for quite a few years toward the end there. And
living in the motion picture home.
I was going to say, died
at
the motion picture home, the same exit off the 101 from where I grew up in Woodland Hills. There you go.
And the same day we lost Mac Davis, the legendary singer-songwriter who hosted a variety show in the 1970s and had a film career that includes the great and underseen football comedy North Dallas 40 with Nick Nolte.
Is it underseen? I think it's like one of those classic ones that people always talk about when they talk about best football movies.
I would hope. I don't know. I think people think about...
I think a newer generation, I think a younger audience has not seen it. And
I don't think they know that one or Semi-Tough.
Oh. Well, go watch those.
Yes.
Go learn about football in the 70s where men were men.
And doing drugs.
That's right.
Lots of chest
lots
hair.
of drugs.
Anyway, that's it.
Do not watch Mac Davis's Cheaper to Keep Her, however, which is a terrible film.
Matt, let's do some marquee, shall we?
Let's do it.
Wait, did I mention the Bond movie moving?
Oh no!
No.
My
We did
last bit of
not.
news: No Time to
Yes.
Die, which is one of the big tent poles this year that everyone was
Has
looking
no time
to.
to be. Yeah.
It got moved to November 20th, right? It was going to happen, and now they're saying April of 2021.
Yeah, they were at least thinking like, well, it's going to be huge in the UK, even if the US theaters aren't back to 100%. But nope, they pushed the whole thing back. So now it's a question of like, so what are the big ones left in December? It's Wonder Woman and
Those are
one
good
other
push.
one.
I mean, this is all fallout from Tenet. Everybody's like, "Oh no."
Yeah, no, that was supposed to be the thing that reopened theaters, and I think that wound up being the canary in the coal mine instead.
Yeah, good job, Chris
Right.
Nolan.
Because like
Took one for the team.
next December of 2021 is both West Side Story and In the Heights, right?
I think In the Heights was originally a summer release. I don't know if it's still gonna be, but there was this year. There was Wonder Woman was going to open it's supposed to open 1 week after. I'm blanking some other big thing, but we got a while till we get there. We'll see what happens.
Matt, let's do marquees. Let's get
Yes,
some
let's
hope
do it.
from our
Write
viewers
these-
and listeners about the
write
outside
these-
world.
Write these on the calendar with
Yes.
pencil.
All right. So let's see. Here we go. First up, this is the picture from the top of the show. This is a news story in Aurora in New York. Theater owners are still wondering when they're going to get to open their theaters because New York is still telling them you can't really open. So clearly the owners of the Aurora are not happy about that. It says theaters now open safely in 47 states, not New York, with an exclamation point. All right, our next picture, this came in from Beth Barbara Doty. This is the Parkway Theater in Minneapolis. The title, I would watch this movie, Thelma and Disease.
Oh,
They never disappoint at the Parkway.
that Parkway, they are nailing it.
Yeah, so is the Fargo. We'll get to that in a minute. This is from Bobby Lane, who writes, "Hello, Christy, Matt, and Alonso. Hope you are all doing well. So it's official. I went back to the movies for the first time in 7 months. Last Saturday afternoon, all the staff at the Claremont Cinema here in New Hampshire were wearing masks and gloves. They even covered my popcorn with a sheet of tinfoil for extra protection. Each of their auditoriums are only open for 25% capacity, which wasn't really an issue because I was the only person at my showing of Unhinged.
Oh,
Not to mention the only person in the building other than the staff. I guess the only thing I was in danger of catching was a case of loneliness."
Aw.
and he's in front of Theater 6, so this is like
Right.
a pretty big multiplex.
All the way
Overall,
down the aisle.
Overall, I felt very safe, and it was great to be back in the movies. All the best, Bobby Lane. So
right.
thanks for the report, Bobby. All right, next up is... Okay, this one came in from Celia Stahr, who said that she tried tweeting at Matt but didn't get a response. I don't think she might have hit me at the right place because I didn't see the tweet. And unable to DM. So if you guys want it, she'll send a photo here. This is the Village Cinema East in New York. She gives us a fun fact about it in Wikipedia. One of New York's last remaining Yiddish theater buildings. It's a New York City designated landmark and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places.
Cool.
So thank you for sending that one in.
You
Sarah.
can tell from the facade that it, has been things in the past.
Yes.
I feel like I've been there. Maybe. Anyway. Go ahead.
Maybe you have. And it said the marquee says, stay safe and healthy. We look forward to having you back. Visit citycinemas.com for more updates. Okay, next. Geoff Swanson sent another picture of the Parkway from Minneapolis. He said it just yesterday. Hope this is not too late for your Friday marquee roundup, but figured you maybe like this one. Parkway Theater here in Minneapolis. Trump was in the state last week, so now happy October horror season, considering the 2 rallies he had this week here. This says, this is the marquee. It says, "Women belong in all places where decisions are being made."
Is that a Ruth Bader Ginsburg quote?
I don't know.
Maybe. Look at all the leaves on the sidewalk, y'all.
Oh,
Aw.
it's fall somewhere.
Autumn.
I
All
keep
right, next up.
sweaters and jeans just because I want to feel like a normal person and I want fall. to come.
These are a couple pictures from Jacob Colness and Fargo, who is also killing it.
Yes.
This one says, "I feel the need for masks." And then next up, "I love the smell of masks in the morning."
That's good. Smells like
Right?
victory.
Smells like victory. Okay, next up, Jacob Ryder sent in some pictures of a Blu-ray Christy said she was going to read about this.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hold on. Wait. This is who now? This is Jacob Ryder. Oh.
Jacob Ryder.
Needing a break from the crazy shit going on in the world, especially after last night's debate. Yes, Jacob, we hear you. Decided I needed something stupid but fun to watch. I decided on Piranha 3D.
Nice.
Also because Christie's critique quote on the back sold me. That's the next picture. I am blurbed from back when I was at the Associated Press still saying, this movie is a complete blast. Run, don't walk. I believe they added the exclamation point.
They usually do.
I don't think I would have done that. Hope everybody's staying safe in these hard times. I've been a viewer since 2013 when I was 16.
Wow.
And saw y'all's review of Grown Ups 2. That's a little time capsule right there. Sending love and peace to Christy, Alonso, Matt, and Ben. Thank you, Jacob. We hope that Piranha 3D was the escape that you wanted.
The balm for a troubled soul.
All right. One last picture of a theater. This is from Kerby Zozula, who sends us this picture from downtown Ventura. And the marquee says, small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world. And I believe that's a Howard Zinn quote.
That might be, yeah.
So he sent that over. So thank you, Kerby. And then one final picture that's not really a movie marquee, but I came across this. So this is my own contribution. It's a sign on the side of the road, and it says, is your refrigerator running? Because I might vote for it.
Where is this? This looks it's Louisiana somewhere.
It's Louisiana, off State Route 473.
Okay, I can't read the sign beyond the 55-mile-an-hour sign. Can you see?
Neither can I. No, I can't.
Okay.
No, but it's one of those like marquees outside the liquor store.
Yeah.
I used to
Is
live
your
in
refrigerator
Louisiana.
running? Because I might vote for it.
That's amazing. I love it. Thank you for all of that.
Right? The Cajuns have turned on Trump. They're voting for fridges.
There you go.
Goody.
Right?
William the Refrigerator Perry.
All right, so that's it, right? We're good?
It is. Thank you guys.
Thorough.
Thank you guys for watching this lengthy look at the news with breaking news. Who knew?
He's very thorough.
Indeed. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. We're currently recapping The Vow and Lovecraft Country from HBO, and as mentioned, we will be getting to The Mandalorian when season 2 drops at the end of the month on Disney+. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you next time. Bye.